Good evening, everyone. Tonight you will hear a true story from a Cambodian lady named Lida. To make it easier to understand, I will narrate this story as a first person. Hello, everyone. This terrifying story is a true experience that happened to me in 2018, both in Cambodia and Thailand. I'm from Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and work as a clothing seller. At that time, I had the idea to travel to Thailand to buy new fashion clothes, to sell something different from others. I planned to go to Thailand with two of my friends. After making our plans, I hurried to find my suitcase to clean it, because I hadn't traveled for many months and years, so it might be dusty. After finding the suitcase, I took it outside to clean it, but due to carelessness, it slipped from my hands and broke. The suitcase was too old, making its plastic brittle and easy to break. When the suitcase broke, I rode my motorbike to the market to buy another one. After searching around, I found a second-hand store that also sold suitcases. I immediately fell in love with one particular suitcase there. It was about the same size as my broken one. When I picked it up to ask the seller, they said they were selling it for only $12 because they had bought it at a low price. I found this a bit strange because the suitcase was large and looked brand new and clean. It shouldn't be priced so low. But wanting to save money, I agreed to buy it without thinking much about it. On the first night after bringing the suitcase home, I immediately experienced something strange. I had packed my clothes in the suitcase because we were leaving for Thailand the next day. While I was packing, I suddenly heard a woman's voice whispering softly, but I couldn't understand what she was saying. I stopped what I was doing and listened carefully, but I couldn't tell where the sound was coming from. After getting up to open the door and seeing nothing outside, I returned to continue packing my clothes. I didn't see anything strange for the rest of that night. However, the following night while I was sleeping, I suddenly heard someone knocking on my bedroom door and heard the same whispering voice as when I was packing my clothes. Since I was in deep sleep, I walked to the door still half asleep, but there was nobody outside. The whispering voice had also stopped, so I closed the door and went back to sleep. But strangely, when I returned to my bed, I saw my new suitcase at the foot of my bed, even though I hadn't touched it at all, and its original position was near the wardrobe. Not wanting to overthink it, I told myself that perhaps a rat or cat had bumped into it, causing it to roll to a new position. The suitcase had wheels, making it easy to move. After pushing it back to its original place, I went back to sleep as usual. The next day, my friends and I met up and departed. The car we took from Phnom Penh to Siem Reap was normal, but the car we rented to travel from Siem Reap into Thailand was strange. I remember that after changing car in Siem Reap, I moved my suitcase from the old car to the trunk of the new one. I'm absolutely certain that I didn't open the suitcase, but unexpectedly, when we arrived in Thailand and were about to check in at the guest house, I went to get my suitcase from the trunk and found it open, as if someone had unzipped it. Not only that, but I saw 2-3 pieces of clothing had spilled out. I examined it carefully and zipped it closed again. The zipper wasn't broken, so why would the clothes spill out? I was puzzled but didn't know who to ask about it. After going up to the room that the guest house had prepared for us, we went in to rest. Being tired from the long journey, we all fell asleep. A while later, I woke up first so I went to take a shower and change clothes. I'm absolutely certain that when I took my clothes to shower, I had zipped the suitcase closed again. But when I came out after showering, I found the suitcase open. Not only that, but some clothes were sticking out as if someone had been rummaging through them. I didn't think it was a prank by my two friends, because they had never played such jokes on me before. I began to feel strange about the suitcase, but didn't know what to do. A moment later, I woke up my friends so we could get ready to go out, walk around, find something to eat, and do some shopping. That day, we didn't return to the guest house until around 9 p.m., but the strange occurrences continued. My suitcase had moved to a position near the bed, even though before going out, we had placed all our suitcase together near the wardrobe. At that point, one of my friends said that I was the one who arranged it that way, to scare them because I was the last one to leave the room earlier. Since my friends didn't believe me, I didn't bother explaining further. After showering, we all went to sleep. That night, after falling asleep, I suddenly dreamed that I was sleeping alone in that room when my suitcase moved by itself from the wardrobe toward the bed where I was sleeping. Then its zipper opened on its own, and I saw someone's hand, pale and with peeling skin, reaching out to the elbow. Then the same whispering voice I had heard before came from inside the suitcase. I was terrified by this sight and woke up sweating profusely. It was truly strange. My room had air conditioning, yet I was still sweating. But what was even more frightening was that my suitcase was now positioned near my bed, just like in my dream. Clearly something was wrong, so I quickly kicked the suitcase away and climbed onto another bed, waking my friends to tell them what had happened. After explaining everything with a trembling voice, they seemed to believe me. But since they hadn't experienced anything strange themselves, they weren't as frightened. They said we had no choice but to endure it for now. And if there was nothing important in the suitcase, we could leave it outside the room. No one would steal it. This seemed like a reasonable idea, so I decided to follow their suggestion. And that night, I didn't experience anything strange again. The next morning, we got ready to go shopping, and after buying what we needed, we left Thailand and headed back to Cambodia. Along the way, my friends and I kept talking about the strange incidents involving the suitcase, and one friend said she feared the suitcase might have been used in a murder, as she had heard of many cases where people were killed and stuffed into suitcases. Some criminals might have sold it as a second-hand item. Hearing my friend say this made my skin crawl even more. When I got home, I immediately gathered my belongings and burned the suitcase completely. After burning it, no more strange things happened. It was clear that all these incidents were related to that suitcase. Well, that's the end of the story. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Goodbye, and see you in the next video.